I'm sitting in the dark movie theater, minding my own business, watching the previews, when I smell it, that unmistakable aroma of seasoned, golden brown rotisserie chicken. You know the smell I'm talking about, the kind that hits your nose and immediately makes your stomach start talking to you in full sentences. I look to my left, nothing unusual, just a couple sharing popcorn like civilized human beings. I look to my right, and there she is, my Auntie Lorraine, 6 feet tall in her good church shoes, leopard print jacket, matching purse the size of a small suitcase, and a whole rotisserie chicken sitting in her lap like it's supposed to be there. Not chicken tenders, not chicken nuggets, a whole entire chicken, still in the container from the grocery store, steam rising up from it like it just came out of somebody's oven. I lean over and whisper, "Auntie, is that a whole chicken?" She doesn't even look at me, just pulls out a paper plate from her purse and starts tearing into that bird like she's at a Sunday dinner table. "Yes, baby. You want a piece? I got napkins." My little sister Keisha is on the other side of me, and she's already got her head in her hands. She knows what's about to happen. We both know, because this isn't the first time Auntie Lorraine has done something like this, and it definitely won't be the last. Let me back up and tell you how we even got here in the first place. My name is Darnell Washington. I'm 23 years old, just graduated from college, moved back home to save some money while I look for a real job, and I'm trying to figure out this thing called adult life. My little sister Keisha is 19, home from her first year at Howard University, and she thinks she knows everything now because she took one African American studies class. We live with our mama, Patricia Washington, who works 2 jobs and still finds time to remind us that we're eating her food and using her electricity. Our daddy passed away when I was 12, so it's just been the 3 of us for a while now. Well, the 3 of us and Auntie Lorraine, who lives 10 minutes away, but acts like our house is her second home. Auntie Lorraine is my mama's older sister, and she's what you might call a character. She's 62 years old, never been married, no kids of her own, and she's made it her personal mission to insert herself into every single family event, whether she's invited or not. Birthdays, she's there with the cake she made that nobody asked for. Graduations, she's in the front row with an air horn. Funerals, she's crying louder than the widow. And she has absolutely no concept of social norms or what's appropriate in public settings. Like the time she brought her own crock-pot to a fancy restaurant because she didn't trust their collard greens. Or when she showed up to Keisha's high school graduation with a megaphone to make sure we could hear her cheering. Or that Christmas when she wrapped all her gifts in aluminum foil because she said wrapping paper was a waste of money. But the chicken thing? This was new. Even for her. So anyway, it's a Friday night. I had just gotten my first paycheck from my new job at the marketing firm downtown. It wasn't much, just an entry-level position, but I was feeling good about myself. I wanted to do something nice for my family, so I decided to take everybody to the movies. I texted the family group chat that morning. "Movie night on me. New superhero movie just came out. I'm buying tickets and everything." Mama responded, "That's sweet, baby. What time?" Keisha responded, "Finally putting that degree to use, I see." And then Auntie Lorraine responded, "I'll bring snacks." I should have known right then. I should have said no. I should have established boundaries. But I was young and naive and thought that maybe, just maybe, she meant a normal amount of candy from the dollar store. I was so wrong. We meet up at the theater at 7. I'm there first because I'm always early. It's this big AMC in the nice part of town with the reclining seats and everything. I'm feeling fancy. I bought the tickets online, picked the best seats in the house, right in the middle of the theater. Mama shows up next in her work scrubs because she came straight from her shift at the hospital. She gives me a hug and tells me she's proud of me for treating the family. That makes me feel good. Makes me feel like a man. You know, like I'm finally contributing. Keisha pulls up in her little Honda that Mama helped her buy, blasting some song I've never heard, talking about how she only has 2 hours because she has to meet her friends later. She's in her Howard hoodie and jeans, looking like every other college student who just discovered their black identity. Then I see Auntie Lorraine's car pull into the parking lot. It's a 1997 Buick LeSabre, champagne colored. She's had that car since before I was born, and it's still running strong because she takes it to the same mechanic who apparently performs miracles. She gets out of the car, and I notice she's carrying that big purse, the one that could fit a small child, and she's got this look on her face. This satisfied, secretive look that immediately makes me nervous. "Hey, Auntie," I say, giving her a hug. "You ready for the movie?" "Oh yes, baby. I've been looking forward to this all day." She pats her purse. "I got everything we need right here." "Everything we need for what?" "For the movie, baby. You know how expensive that concession stand is. I wasn't about to let you waste your hard-earned money on no $15 popcorn." Keisha and I exchange looks. Mama's already walking toward the entrance, oblivious to what's about to unfold. We get inside, and I head to the concession stand anyway because I want the full experience. I'm about to order when Auntie Lorraine puts her hand on my arm. "Baby, save your money. I told you I got snacks." "Auntie, it's fine. I want to get popcorn and candy and stuff." "For what? When I got everything right here?" She pats that purse again, and I swear I hear something shift inside it. The teenage kid behind the counter is looking at us like he's watching a tennis match. I can see his name tag says Brandon, and he looks like he's about 5 seconds from calling his manager. "Sir, are you ordering or not?" he asks. I look at Auntie Lorraine. She's giving me this look. This look that says if I spend money on movie theater snacks when she brought perfectly good food from home, she's going to tell this story at every family gathering for the rest of my natural life. "Just one large popcorn," I say, defeated. "Fool," Keisha mutters under her breath, but loud enough for me to hear. We head to theater number 7. The previews are already starting when we walk in. We find our seats, and that's when things start to get interesting. Auntie Lorraine sits down, and I hear her purse clank against the armrest. It sounds heavy, like suspiciously heavy. She starts getting situated, adjusting her jacket, taking off her scarf, and that's when I see the container. The white plastic container with the clear lid, the kind you get from the grocery store deli, and inside is a whole rotisserie chicken, golden brown, still steaming, looking like it came straight out of the oven, even though I know for a fact it came from the hot case at Kroger. "Auntie," I whisper, trying to keep my voice down because the Marvel logo is flashing on screen and people are trying to watch. "Is that chicken?" "Sure is, baby. Got it on sale, 2 for $8. I got another one at home in the refrigerator for tomorrow." Keisha leans over. Her eyes are wide. "Auntie Lorraine, you cannot have a whole chicken in here." "Why not? It's food." "Because it's a movie theater. They have rules." "What rules?" "I don't see no sign that says I can't bring my own food." "There is definitely a sign," Keisha says. "Multiple signs. There's probably a whole policy." "Well, I didn't see it. And even if I did, that's ridiculous. I'm not paying $12 for some stale nachos when I got a perfectly good chicken right here." Mama finally notices what's happening. She leans forward and looks at Auntie Lorraine with that expression that says she's tired but not surprised. "Lorraine, what are you doing?" "Eating, Patricia. Something you should be doing too. I know you just came from work and probably haven't had dinner. Here, I brought plates." She starts pulling paper plates out of her purse like she's Mary Poppins. "Lord have mercy," Mama says, but she's smiling a little bit. That's the thing about Auntie Lorraine. Even when she's embarrassing you to death, she's doing it out of love. Plus, Mama's probably hungry. The movie starts. I'm trying to focus on the screen. The superhero is fighting some villain. There's explosions and dramatic music, and all I can hear is Auntie Lorraine ripping meat off that chicken like she's in an eating contest. The smell is spreading. I can feel people around us starting to notice. There's a couple 2 rows ahead who keep turning around. A group of teenagers behind us are whispering and giggling. An older white man on the end of our row keeps looking over with this confused expression, like he's trying to figure out if what he's seeing is real. Auntie Lorraine is completely unbothered. She's got a drumstick in one hand, a napkin in the other, and she's watching that movie like she's in her own living room. Every few minutes, she offers us some chicken. "Darnell, you want a wing? These wings are good." "No, thank you, Auntie." "Keisha, I know you hungry. You're always hungry." "I'm good, Auntie." "Patricia." Mama actually takes a piece, because of course she does. She tears off a little bit of the breast meat and eats it with her fingers, trying to be discreet about it, but there's no being discreet when you're eating chicken in a movie theater. I'm dying inside. I'm slouched so low in my seat that I can barely see the screen. I've got my hood up even though it's not cold. I'm praying that nobody I know is in this theater. I'm praying that this is just a bad dream and I'll wake up any minute. Then I hear the footsteps. Heavy, authoritative footsteps coming down the aisle. I look up, and there's a security guard. Big dude, maybe 6'5". He's got a flashlight and a serious expression, and he's walking straight toward us. "Oh no," Keisha whispers. "We're getting kicked out. We're getting kicked out of a movie theater because of chicken." The security guard stops at our row. He shines his flashlight right on Auntie Lorraine's lap, where the chicken is sitting in all its glory. Half eaten now. Bones on the plate. The whole scene looks like a family barbecue accidentally happened in the middle of a superhero movie. "Ma'am," he says, trying to keep his voice low but firm, "you can't have outside food in here." Auntie Lorraine looks up at him like he just said the most ridiculous thing she's ever heard. "Excuse me? No outside food. It's theater policy." "Young man, this is not outside food. This food is currently inside this theater. So technically, it's inside food now. I want to disappear. I want the floor to open up and swallow me whole." Keisha has her face buried in her hands. Mama's trying not to laugh, which is not helping the situation at all. "Ma'am, you know what I mean. You can't bring food from outside the theater into the theater." "Well, nobody told me that when I walked in. Did anyone tell me that?" She looks at me. "Darnell, did anyone tell me that? Auntie, please. And furthermore, young man, I don't appreciate your tone. I'm a paying customer. My nephew bought these tickets with his hard-earned money. I have every right to enjoy this movie in peace." "You can enjoy the movie, ma'am, but you need to put the chicken away." "Put it away where? In my purse? That's unsanitary." "I don't know, ma'am, but you can't eat it in here." The theater is getting quieter. People are definitely paying more attention to us than the movie now. I can see people with their phones out, probably recording. This is going to end up on social media. I just know it. "Black woman kicked out of movie theater for bringing chicken" is going to be trending on Twitter by tomorrow morning. Auntie Lorraine stands up, all 6 feet of her. She's holding that chicken container like it's evidence in a court case. "Let me ask you something, young man. How much do they charge for popcorn here?" "That's not relevant, ma'am." "How much?" Like 8 or 9 for a large." 8 or 9 for some corn that probably cost them 50 cents to make." "And candy?" "How much for candy?" $4.50 for most boxes." $4.50 for candy I can get at the dollar store for $1. And you want me to throw away a perfectly good chicken that I paid $8 for? A whole chicken that can feed 4 people? That's wasteful, young man. That's what's wrong with this country. Too much waste. "Ma'am, I understand your point, but I don't make the rules." "Then take me to someone who does. I want to speak to the manager." "Oh no, not the manager." I stand up, trying to de-escalate. "Auntie, it's okay. Let's just go. We can finish the movie another time." "Sit down, Darnell. We're not going anywhere. I didn't get dressed and drive all the way over here to be disrespected by some teenager with a flashlight. I'm 24, ma'am. You're a baby, and you're going to let me finish my chicken in peace, or I'm going to file a complaint with corporate." "What's your name?" "Brandon. I saw your name tag." "Brandon, I'm going to need your employee number." The security guard looks confused. "My employee number?" "Yes, because I'm filing a complaint about harassment and discrimination." "Discrimination?" "Yes. I bet if I was a white woman eating sushi in here, you wouldn't say nothing. But because I'm a black woman with some good home cooking, suddenly it's a problem." "Ma'am, nobody's eating sushi in here either." "That's not the point, Brandon. This is spiraling. This whole situation is completely out of control, and I don't know how to fix it." Keisha is texting someone, probably telling her friends about this disaster. Mama's just sitting there with this resigned look on her face like she's been through worse and this is just another Friday. Then, out of nowhere, this older black man a few rows behind us stands up. He's got gray hair, nice suit, looks like he just came from work or church or something official. "Excuse me," he calls out. "I just want to say something." Everyone turns to look at him. The security guard, Auntie Lorraine, the whole section of the theater. "This is ridiculous," the man continues. "This woman is just trying to enjoy a movie with her family. She brought some food. So what? When did we become so uptight about everything? I've been coming to movie theaters for 50 years, and I've seen people bring in all kinds of things. Sandwiches, pizza, Chinese food, you name it. And nobody said nothing because everybody understood that movie theater prices are robbery." A few people clap. Someone says, "That's right. The man's not done." Now, I get it. There's rules. But rules gotta make sense. And a rule that says you can charge 15 for popcorn, but a woman can't bring her own chicken? That don't make sense to me. More clapping. Auntie Lorraine is nodding like she's found her soulmate. "Thank you, sir," she says, finally someone with some common sense. The security guard looks overwhelmed. He's probably thinking about his hourly wage and whether getting into a philosophical debate about chicken in a movie theater is worth it. "Look," he says, clearly trying to find a way out of this situation. "How about this? You can stay and watch the movie, but please try to be more discreet about the food and clean up after yourself." Auntie Lorraine considers this. "That sounds reasonable. I accept your terms." The security guard walks away, probably to go tell his supervisor that he just negotiated a peace treaty over rotisserie chicken. The older black man sits back down to a small round of applause, and we all settle back into our seats. The movie continues. Auntie Lorraine finishes her chicken, wraps up all the bones neatly in napkins, and puts everything back in her purse. She even wipes down the armrest with a wet wipe she had in there. I have to admit, for all the chaos she caused, at least she's tidy about it. When the movie ends and the lights come up, I'm emotionally exhausted. We walk out to the parking lot, and I'm ready to go home and pretend this never happened. But Auntie Lorraine stops us before we get to our cars. "Y'all embarrassed of me?" she asks. There's a long silence. I look at Keisha. Keisha looks at Mama. Mama looks at me. "No, Auntie," I say, but it comes out weak. "Yes, you are. I can tell. Y'all were embarrassed in there." "Lorraine," Mama starts, but Auntie Lorraine holds up her hand. "No, Patricia, let me say this. I know I'm different. I know I don't do things the way other people do them. But everything I do out of love. I brought that chicken because I know movie theater snacks are expensive, and I didn't want Darnell spending all his money on overpriced junk food when he's trying to save up and get his life started. I thought I was being helpful. I feel terrible. Worse than terrible. Here I was, so worried about what other people thought that I didn't even consider why she did what she did. I'm sorry, Auntie, I say. You're right. You were trying to help, and I appreciate it. I really do. I'm sorry too, Keisha adds. It was actually kind of funny. And that man who stood up for you, that was pretty cool. Auntie Lorraine smiles. He was handsome too. Did y'all see him? Had that salt and pepper beard? I should have got his number. We all laugh. The tension breaks. Mama gives Auntie Lorraine a hug, and we all end up in this group hug in the middle of the parking lot like the corny family we are. But Auntie, I say, pulling back from the hug, next time, maybe just bring some candy or something. Something that don't smell. Where's the fun in that? She says with a wink. We say our goodbyes, and I watch Auntie Lorraine get in her Buick and drive off into the night, probably planning her next public spectacle. On the drive home, Keisha's in the passenger seat scrolling through her phone. Oh my God, she says suddenly. What? Auntie Lorraine's famous. Someone posted a video of her arguing with that security guard. It's already got like 50,000 views. You're lying. I'm not. Look, she shows me her phone. Sure enough, there's a video of the whole thing. The comments are mostly positive. People calling Auntie Lorraine a queen and a legend. Someone started a hashtag, Free the Chicken. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. When we get home, Mama makes us some tea, and we sit in the living room talking about the night. It's late, almost midnight, but none of us feel like going to bed yet. You know, Mama says, stirring honey into her tea, your Auntie Lorraine means well. She always has. Even when we were kids, she was like that. Always doing things her own way, not caring what people thought. Did she ever embarrass you, I ask? Oh, all the time. When I was in high school, she showed up to my homecoming in a full witch costume because she said she wanted to stand out. This was in October, but still, I was mortified. But you know what? Years later, that's one of my favorite memories because it reminds me that she's always been herself, unapologetically. And there's something beautiful about that. I guess, Keisha says. But did she have to bring a whole chicken? Like, that's next level. That's Lorraine, Mama says with a shrug. And honestly, I'm glad she's in your lives. Y'all need someone like her. Someone who reminds you not to take everything so seriously. Someone who shows you that the rules aren't always worth following especially when they don't make sense. I think about that, about how I was so concerned with looking respectable and following the rules that I forgot to appreciate the gesture. Auntie Lorraine could have just let me spend money on expensive snacks, but she took the time to think about me, to bring food, to make sure we were all taken care of. Sure, it was unconventional. Sure, it caused a scene, but it came from a place of love. The next morning, I wake up to about 100 text messages. The video of Auntie Lorraine has gone viral, full on viral. It's on every social media platform. News websites are picking it up. Someone made a meme out of it. There's even a GoFundMe that someone started to buy Auntie Lorraine more chicken, which she absolutely did not ask for and would probably be insulted by. I go downstairs and Mama's watching the news. And there it is. The video is playing on the local news station. They're interviewing people about movie theater, food policies. They brought in some expert to talk about pricing and customer rights. This is insane. My phone rings. It's Auntie Lorraine. "Have you seen this mess?" she asks, as soon as I answer, "Yes, ma'am. You're famous. I don't want to be famous. I just wanted to eat my chicken in peace." Now I got reporters calling me. One of them wants to interview me for some podcast. A podcast, Darnell. I don't even know what that is. It's like a radio show, but on the internet. Well, I'm not doing it. This is ridiculous. I'm a private person. I almost choke on my coffee. "Auntie, you brought a rotisserie chicken to a movie theater. Private people don't do that." "That's different. That was just family time. I didn't know everyone was going to make such a big deal about it." Over the next few days, the story keeps growing. The theater company releases a statement saying they're reviewing their food policies. Some activist groups get involved, talking about how movie theaters discriminate against people who can't afford their prices. It becomes this whole thing, and Auntie Lorraine? She's handling it like a champ. She finally does one interview with a local news station, and she's perfect. She's funny, articulate, and she makes good points about food insecurity and economic inequality without even trying. She just speaks her truth, and people respond to it. The interview ends with the reporter asking her, "Do you have any regrets about bringing that chicken to the theater?" Auntie Lorraine looks directly at the camera and says, "My only regret is that I didn't bring mashed potatoes too." The video clips of her interview get millions of views. Someone makes a t-shirt that says, "Be like Auntie Lorraine," with a picture of a rotisserie chicken. It's chaos, but it's the good kind of chaos. About a week later, things start to calm down. The news cycle moves on to something else, and our lives start to return to normal. But something's different. People recognize Auntie Lorraine when she goes out. They stop her in the grocery store to take pictures. She acts like she's annoyed by it, but I can tell she kind of loves the attention. One Saturday, we're all at Mama's house for dinner. It's the whole family. Me, Keisha, Mama, Auntie Lorraine, and a few cousins who heard about the chicken incident and wanted to hear the story firsthand. We're sitting around the table, eating Mama's pot roast, when Auntie Lorraine stands up with her glass of sweet tea. "I want to make a toast," she announces. We all raise our glasses. "To family," she says. "To being yourself, even when people think you're crazy. To standing up for what you believe in, even if it's just about chicken. And to my nephew Darnell, who tried to do something nice for his family and ended up with a viral video." Everyone laughs. I shake my head, but I'm smiling. "But seriously," Auntie Lorraine continues, "I've been thinking about this whole thing, about why people connected with it so much, and I think it's because we're all tired. We're tired of being told we have to act a certain way, follow certain rules, pretend to be something we're not just to fit in. Sometimes you gotta bring your whole authentic self to the table, even if that self includes a rotisserie chicken." "Amen to that," Mama says. "Amen," we all echo. We clink our glasses together and drink, and in that moment, I realize something important. Being embarrassed is temporary, but the love of a family like this, that's forever. And if I have to be embarrassed every now and then because my auntie does something wild, that's a small price to pay for being part of something this real. After dinner, I'm helping Mama wash dishes. When she turns to me, "You learned something from all this, didn't you?" she asks. "I learned that Auntie Lorraine is fearless," I say. "No, baby. I mean about yourself." I think about it for a moment. I learned that I care too much about what other people think. I was so worried about being embarrassed that I almost missed the whole point of the night, which was just spending time with family. That's right. And you know what else? You can't control what other people do. You can only control how you respond. Your Auntie Lorraine is going to be who she is. That's not going to change. But you can change how you react to it. You can be embarrassed and miserable, or you can embrace it and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride, I repeat, even when the ride includes chicken in inappropriate places. Especially then, Mama says with a smile. A few weeks later, I get a call from my boss at work. He wants to see me in his office, and I'm immediately nervous. Did someone see the video? Am I getting fired because my family went viral? I walk into his office, and he's sitting behind his desk with a big smile on his face. Darnell, sit down. I want to talk to you about something. I sit, my heart pounding. I saw that video, he says, the one with your aunt and the chicken. Here it comes. I'm about to get the speech about professionalism and representing the company and all that. That was hilarious, he continues. And more than that, it was smart. Your aunt made some really good points about accessibility and economic inequality. We've been trying to figure out how to position our company as more socially conscious, and I think you might be the person to help us do that. Wait, what? We want to create a new campaign about authenticity, about being yourself, about challenging systems that don't make sense, and I think you'd be perfect to lead that project. It's a promotion, more money, more responsibility. What do you say? I'm stunned. I came in here thinking I was getting fired, and instead, I'm getting promoted because my auntie brought chicken to a movie theater. I say yes. I managed to get out. Definitely yes. Great. We'll start next month. And Darnell, bring your aunt to the office sometime. I'd love to meet her. I call Auntie Lorraine as soon as I leave his office. Auntie, you're not going to believe this. What, baby? I tell her the whole story. About the promotion, about the campaign, about how my boss wants to meet her. She's quiet for a moment. Then she says, see, I told you that chicken was a good investment. I laughed so hard I almost dropped my phone. That weekend, I take the family out to celebrate my promotion. And this time, I don't say anything when Auntie Lorraine shows up with her big purse. I don't ask what's in it. I don't care. Because I've learned that sometimes the people who embarrass you the most are the same people who end up changing your life for the better. We go to a fancy restaurant, the kind with cloth napkins and multiple forks. Auntie Lorraine looks at the menu and whistles at the prices. $28 for salmon? That's highway robbery. It's okay, Auntie. I got it. This is my treat. If you're sure, baby. We order our food, and it's delicious. The conversation is flowing, everyone's laughing and having a good time. And then dessert comes. The waiter brings out this elaborate chocolate cake with gold leaf on it. It's beautiful. It's also $35. Auntie Lorraine looks at it, looks at the waiter, and says, young man, let me ask you something. What makes this cake worth $35? It's made with imported chocolate from Belgium, ma'am. And the gold leaf is real edible gold. Edible gold. So you're telling me I'm going to pay $35 to eat something that's going to come out the same way everything else comes out? The table goes quiet. Keisha's trying not to laugh. Mama's got her head in her hands. But I'm not embarrassed. Not this time. Auntie's got a point, I say. That is pretty expensive for cake. Thank you, Darnell. Now, I happen to bring some pound cake from home. Made it myself. Had some extra time this morning. Who wants a slice? She reaches into her purse. And I know what's coming. I know we're about to have another moment. Another scene. Another potential viral video. But you know what? I don't care. Because this is my family. This is Auntie Lorraine, and if she wants to bring pound cake to a fancy restaurant, then that's what we're going to do. She pulls out a Tupperware container with perfectly sliced pound cake inside. She even brought small paper plates and plastic forks. The waiter standing there looking confused, probably trying to decide if he should call his manager. Would you like a slice? Auntie Lorraine asks him. I promise it's better than that gold leaf mess. The waiter looks at us, then at the pound cake, then back at us. You know what? He says. I would love a slice. Auntie Lorraine lights up like Christmas morning. She serves him a piece of cake and he takes a bite right there in front of us. Ma'am, this is incredible, he says. See? I told you. You don't need fancy ingredients to make something good. You just need love and a good recipe. The waiter goes back to the kitchen, and about 5 minutes later, he comes back with the manager. I'm thinking, here we go again. But the manager's smiling. Ma'am, the manager says, our waiter told me about your pound cake. Would you be interested in selling us the recipe? We're always looking for new dessert options. Auntie Lorraine looks stunned. You want to buy my recipe? If you're willing to sell it, we'd compensate you fairly, of course. Auntie Lorraine looks at all of us. Did y'all hear that? They want to buy my pound cake recipe. That's amazing, Auntie, Keisha says. How much we talking? Auntie Lorraine asks, getting down to business. How about 500? 500? For a recipe? Baby, you got yourself a deal. They shake hands right there in the restaurant. The manager brings out some paperwork, and just like that, Auntie Lorraine sells her pound cake recipe to a fancy restaurant for 500. As we're leaving, Auntie Lorraine is walking a little taller. She's got this smile on her face that I haven't seen before. It's pride. Pure, unadulterated pride. In the parking lot, she pulls me aside. You know what I just realized? She says, what's that, Auntie? All these years, people been looking at me like I'm crazy, like I don't know how to act. But maybe I've been knowing how to act all along. Maybe everyone else is the one who's confused. Maybe so, Auntie. You're going to do great things, Darnell. You got a good heart, and you're not afraid to learn. That's rare. Most people think they know everything. But you're willing to be embarrassed. You're willing to be wrong. You're willing to grow. That's going to take you far. I learned it from watching you, Auntie. Well, I learned it from living, and now I'm teaching it to you. That's how it works. That's how family works. We teach each other. We embarrass each other. We love each other through all of it. She gives me a hug, and I hold on a little longer than usual because I want to remember this moment, this feeling, this understanding that family isn't about being perfect or following all the rules. It's about showing up for each other, even when showing up means bringing a rotisserie chicken to a movie theater. 3 months later, the restaurant adds Auntie Lorraine's legendary pound cake to their dessert menu. It becomes their best-selling dessert. They even put a little story on the menu about how they acquired the recipe from a local baker with a passion for sharing food and love. Auntie Lorraine gets a small percentage of every sale, which adds up to a nice little income. She uses some of it to start a small catering business on the side. Nothing fancy, just good home cooking for people who want something real. And me? The campaign I'm working on at my job becomes hugely successful. It's all about authenticity and being yourself, even when the world tells you to conform. We use real people in our ads telling real stories. And in the very first commercial, we feature Auntie Lorraine. She's sitting in a movie theater seat, holding a plate of food, looking directly at the camera. They say you can't bring your own food to the movies, she says. But who made that rule? And more importantly, why? Sometimes the best things in life come from breaking the rules that don't make sense. From being yourself, even when people tell you to blend in. From showing love in your own way, even if that way involves a rotisserie chicken. The commercial ends with her taking a bite of chicken and smiling at the camera. It's perfect. It's authentic. It's Auntie Lorraine. The campaign wins awards. My boss gives me another promotion. But the best part, the part I'll remember forever, is the night we all watched the commercial together as a family, crowded around Mama's TV, eating Auntie Lorraine's cooking, laughing and crying and feeling so grateful to be part of something bigger than ourselves, because that's what family is. It's embarrassing moments that turn into legends. It's arguments that turn into understanding. It's chicken in movie theaters and pound cake in fancy restaurants. It's learning that the people who make you uncomfortable are often the same people who make you grow. After the commercial airs, Auntie Lorraine becomes somewhat of a local celebrity. People recognize her at the grocery store, at church, everywhere she goes. And she handles it with the same grace and humor she handles everything else. One day, I'm at her house helping her organize some paperwork for her catering business, and I find an old photo album. I start flipping through it, and there are pictures of her when she was young. Beautiful pictures. Pictures of her at parties, at work, with friends. Auntie, why didn't you ever get married? I ask. You were gorgeous. You must have had plenty of options. She sits down next to me and looks at the pictures. I did have options, she says, but I also had standards. And most men back then wanted a woman who would shrink herself, who would be quiet and obedient and predictable. That wasn't me. I was loud. I was opinionated. I brought chicken to places where you weren't supposed to bring chicken. We both laugh. So I chose myself, she continues. I chose freedom. I chose authenticity. And you know what? I don't regret it for a second. Because look at my life now. I got a nephew who's succeeding in his career. I got a niece who's finding herself in college. I got a sister who's my best friend. I got a catering business. I got love all around me. What more could I want? A husband might be nice, I tease. Baby, I'm 62 years old. If I wanted a husband, I would have got one by now. But I'm complete on my own. And that's what I want you to understand. You don't need someone else to validate you. You don't need to follow someone else's path. You just need to be true to yourself and surround yourself with people who love you for who you are. It's the wisest thing anyone's ever said to me. That night, I write it all down. The whole story. From the movie theater to the restaurant to this moment sitting with Auntie Lorraine looking at old photographs. I write it because I want to remember it. Because I want to have something to show my own kids someday. Assuming I have kids. I want them to know about their great aunt who brought chicken to a movie theater and changed my entire perspective on life. A year passes. Life keeps moving forward. Keisha graduates from Howard with honors. Mama finally retires from one of her 2 jobs. I get another promotion at work and move into my own apartment. And Auntie Lorraine's catering business keeps growing. We still have family dinners every Sunday. It's our tradition now. We take turns hosting, but most of the time it ends up being at Mama's house because that's where we all feel most comfortable. One Sunday, Auntie Lorraine shows up with a special announcement. I got invited to speak at a women's business conference, she says. They want me to talk about my journey as an entrepreneur. That's amazing, Auntie, Keisha says. Yeah, but I don't know what to say. I'm not a real entrepreneur. I just started making food for people. Auntie, you built a business from nothing, I say. You took your passion and turned it into income. You're exactly what they're looking for. You think so? I know so. She does the speech, and it's incredible. She talks about being authentic, about not being afraid to stand out, about turning your quirks into your strengths. She gets a standing ovation. And afterward, dozens of women come up to her asking for advice, wanting to connect, inspired by her story. One woman in particular catches my attention. She's about Auntie Lorraine's age, well-dressed, confident. They talk for a while, and I notice Auntie Lorraine laughing more than usual. She's twirling her hair, which she only does when she's really engaged in a conversation. Later, in the car, I ask her about it. Who was that woman you were talking to? Oh, that's Diane. She owns a bakery downtown. She wants to collaborate on some projects. Mix her baked goods with my soul food. Just business, huh? Mostly business. Mostly? She might have also asked me to dinner. Auntie, that's great. Don't make a big deal about it, Darnell. It's just dinner. Just dinner that might turn into something more. Maybe, we'll see. I'm not rushing into anything. But she seems nice, and she appreciated my story about the chicken, said it reminded her to be bolder in her own business decisions. 6 months later, Auntie Lorraine and Diane are still seeing each other. They've collaborated on several catering events, combining Diane's desserts with Auntie Lorraine's main courses. They're perfect together. Both strong, independent women who found each other later in life and decided to build something beautiful. At Christmas dinner that year, Diane joins us. She fits right in, laughing at our family jokes, helping in the kitchen, holding her own when Uncle Raymond starts talking politics. And when Auntie Lorraine brings out her famous pound cake for dessert, Diane looks at her with this expression of pure love and admiration. You know, Diane says to all of us, when I first heard about Lorraine, I thought she sounded completely insane. Who brings a whole chicken to a movie theater? But then I met her, and I realized she's not insane. She's just free. She's free from caring what people think. She's free from following rules that don't make sense. She's free to be exactly who she is, and that's the most attractive quality a person can have. Auntie Lorraine blushes, which I've never seen her do before. Oh, stop it. You're going to give me a big head. Too late, Keisha says. Your head been big. We all laugh. Even Auntie Lorraine. As the night winds down and people start heading home, I find myself sitting on the porch with Auntie Lorraine. Just the two of us. looking at the Christmas lights on the houses across the street. You happy, Auntie? I ask. I'm happy, baby, happier than I've been in a long time. And you know why? Why? Because I stopped waiting for life to happen to me, and I started making life happen. I stopped caring about being embarrassing and started caring about being real. And real attracts real. That's why Diane came into my life. That's why my business is successful. That's why you and Keisha turned out so good. Because I showed y'all that it's okay to be yourself, even when yourself is a little bit crazy. More than a little bit, I tease. Watch it now. We sit in comfortable silence for a while. Then Auntie Lorraine speaks again. You know what the moral of all this is, Darnell? What's that? The moral is that sometimes you gotta bring your whole chicken to the movie theater, metaphorically speaking. You gotta show up as your full self, with all your quirks and imperfections and unconventional choices. Because the people who can't handle it weren't meant to be in your life anyway. And the people who can handle it, those are your people. Those are the ones worth keeping. That's deep, Auntie. I know. I should write a book or something. You should. Call it Chicken in the Theater, a guide to living authentically. That's terrible, but I like it. We laugh again, and I realize that this moment right here is what life is all about. Not the big successes or the viral videos or the promotions. It's these quiet moments with the people you love where you can just be yourself without apology or explanation. The next year brings even more changes. Keisha graduates and gets a job at a nonprofit working with underprivileged youth. Mama starts taking art classes at the community center, discovering a passion she never knew she had. Diane and Auntie Lorraine move in together and open a joint catering and bakery business called Soul and Sweet. And me, I write a book. Not about marketing or business strategy, but about family, about love, about the importance of being yourself. I call it the Chicken Chronicles Lessons from My Auntie. And on the dedication page, I write, to Auntie Lorraine, who taught me that the greatest gift you can give someone is permission to be themselves. And to rotisserie chickens everywhere, may you always find your way into inappropriate places. The book doesn't become a bestseller or anything crazy like that, but it does okay. More importantly, it resonates with people. I get letters from readers telling me about their own Auntie Lorraines, their own chicken in the theater moments, their own journeys toward authenticity. One letter in particular sticks with me. It's from a young woman about Keisha's age. She writes, Dear Darnell, I just finished your book and I cried through the last 3 chapters. My grandmother is a lot like your aunt. She's loud and embarrassing and she doesn't care what anyone thinks. For years, I was ashamed of her. I would make excuses not to bring friends around. I would cringe when she would do something unconventional in public. But your book made me realize that I was the one who was missing out. I was so concerned with looking normal that I didn't appreciate having someone extraordinary in my life. Tomorrow, I'm taking my grandmother out to lunch, and I don't care if she brings a whole buffet in her purse. I'm just grateful to have her. Thank you for helping me see that. I show the letter to Auntie Lorraine, and she gets teary-eyed reading it. See, she says, this is why your story matters. Because there are people out there who need to hear it, who need permission to love their people exactly as they are. I learned that from you, Auntie. And now you're teaching it to others. That's how it works. That's how we change the world. One chicken at a time. 5 years after the original movie theater incident, we decide to go back. All of us. Me, Keisha, Mama, Auntie Lorraine, and Diane. We're going to see some new superhero movie, and it's nostalgic and funny and perfect. In the parking lot, before we go in, Auntie Lorraine opens her car trunk. And there, sitting in a cooler, is a whole rotisserie chicken. Auntie, no, Keisha says, but she's laughing. What? It's tradition now. They're going to kick us out again. Then we'll have another story to tell. We all look at each other. Mama shrugs. Diane grins. Keisha and I exchange a glance that says we both know exactly how this is going to end. You know what? I say. Let's do it. Let's bring the chicken. Are you serious? Keisha asks. Completely serious. 5 years ago, I would have died of embarrassment. But now I know better. Life's too short to worry about what other people think. Besides, the food is overpriced anyway. Auntie Lorraine pulls out the chicken container like she's pulling Excalibur from the stone. That's my nephew. I raised him right. We walk into that theater like we own the place. Auntie Lorraine's got her chicken, Diane's got some homemade cookies, Mama's got a thermos of sweet tea, and Keisha and I are carrying it all like we're proud of it, because we are. We find our seats, the previews start, and Auntie Lorraine opens that chicken container. The smell fills the theater immediately. People start turning around, whispers begin, and I can see someone pulling out their phone to record. But this time, I don't care. This time, I'm not embarrassed. This time, I'm just grateful to be here with these people, living our truth, being our authentic selves, eating chicken in a movie theater because we can and because it's who we are. A security guard does eventually come over. Different guy than last time, younger. He looks at the chicken, looks at us, and then he looks at Auntie Lorraine's face. Wait, he says, "Are you Chicken Lady? From that viral video?" I prefer Auntie Lorraine, but yes, that's me. Can I get a picture? My mom loves you. She quotes you all the time. Of course, baby. You want some chicken too? I brought plenty. The security guard ends up eating chicken with us. He calls over another employee, then another. By the time the movie actually starts, half the theater staff has stopped by to meet Auntie Lorraine and try her chicken. The manager comes out, and I'm thinking, here we go. We're about to get kicked out. But instead, she asks Auntie Lorraine if she'd be interested in catering their employee appreciation events. Because that's the thing about authenticity. That's the thing about being unapologetically yourself. Eventually, the world stops fighting you and starts celebrating you. Eventually, people realize that your differences aren't flaws, but features. Eventually, the chicken in the theater becomes the thing that brings everyone together. We watch the movie, we eat our food, we laugh at the funny parts and gasp at the action sequences. And when it's over, we walk out of that theater feeling fuller than when we walked in. Not just because of the chicken, but because of the love, because of the acceptance, because of the understanding that we've built as a family over these past 5 years. In the parking lot, under the streetlights, we take a family photo. All of us together, Auntie Lorraine, holding up the empty chicken container like a trophy. It's not a perfect picture. Keisha's eyes are half closed. I'm mid-laugh. Mama's hair is a little messy from the wind. But it's real. It's us. It's authentic. And that's the real lesson in all of this. That's the moral of the story. Life isn't about being perfect or following all the rules or worrying about what other people think. Life is about being real, about showing up as your whole self, about bringing your chicken to the movie theater and not apologizing for it. Because the people who matter won't mind, and the people who mind don't matter. And sometimes, just sometimes, being different is exactly what the world needs. As we're about to leave, an older couple approaches us. The man looks familiar, and then I realize it's him. The man who stood up for Auntie Lorraine 5 years ago. The one who gave that speech about rules not making sense. "I thought that was you," he says to Auntie Lorraine. "I've been following your story. The catering business, the book your nephew wrote, all of it. You've done well for yourself. Thank you. And thank you for standing up for me that night. That meant a lot. I was just speaking the truth. Sometimes somebody's got to say something." They talk for a few more minutes, and I notice they exchange phone numbers. As we're driving away, I see them still standing in the parking lot, talking and laughing like old friends. "You think something's going to happen there?" Keisha asks. "With Auntie Lorraine and Diane so happy together, probably not romantic, but maybe a good friendship," I say. "Good," Mama says from the back seat. Lorraine could always use more people in her corner. When I get home that night, I sit down and write one more chapter for my book. An epilogue about what happened 5 years later, about how the story doesn't end with one viral moment, but continues to unfold in beautiful, unexpected ways. I write about how Auntie Lorraine taught us that authenticity isn't a destination, but a practice. It's something you choose every day. Sometimes it looks like bringing chicken to a movie theater. Sometimes it looks like starting a business at 62. Sometimes it looks like falling in love when you thought that ship had sailed. Sometimes it looks like writing a book about your family even though you're not sure anyone will care. But it always looks like courage. It always looks like love. It always looks like being willing to stand out, speak up, and show the world who you really are. The epilogue ends with this. 5 years ago, my auntie brought a whole rotisserie chicken to a movie theater, and I thought my life was over. I thought the embarrassment would kill me. But you know what actually happened? My life began. Because that chicken, as ridiculous as it sounds, taught me everything I needed to know about living authentically, about loving boldly, about not letting fear of judgment keep you from being exactly who you are meant to be. So thank you, Auntie Lorraine. Thank you for the chicken. Thank you for the lessons. Thank you for showing me that sometimes the most embarrassing moments turn into the most beautiful stories. And thank you for reminding me every single day that life is too short to eat expensive movie theater popcorn when you can bring your own snacks and a whole lot of love. And that's the truth. That's the whole truth. That's the story of how my auntie brought a whole rotisserie chicken to the movie theater and changed my life forever. Because in the end, it was never really about the chicken. It was about permission. Permission to be different. Permission to break rules that don't serve us. Permission to love our people exactly as they are. Permission to live out loud without apology. And if that's not worth celebrating, I don't know what is. So here's to all the Auntie Lorraines out there. Here's to all the rule breakers and boundary pushers. Here's to everyone who's ever brought something they shouldn't have to a place they shouldn't have brought it. Here's to authenticity, even when it's inconvenient. Here's to love, even when it's loud. Here's to family, even when it's complicated. And here's to rotisserie chicken. May it always find its way into our hearts, our stories, and yes, occasionally, our movie theaters. Like this video if it touched something in you. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories about what it means to be human, to be family, and to choose love even when it's complicated. I'll see you next time.